Hey guys, so Roman here, and I'm going to go through the research components of the RMBC method for real estate agents. So that means if you're a real estate agent looking for new clients, then this is going to be extremely helpful for you with respect to knowing where to go to find all sorts of information for your client, what their wants are, what their needs are, what their hesitations, pain points, victories, all those things. And I'm sure Stefan has gone through all the reasons why this research document is so important, why filling it out is important, and why going through each one of these questions is so important. So I'm just going to quickly go over the goals of what we're trying to accomplish. We want to sell more houses using direct mail. And I'd like to differentiate that for the purposes of this exercise. I'm going to focus on home sellers as opposed to home buyers. And I would say, do this as well. Like you could choose either or, and then just do it again for the other side, right? There's no reason to not to do that. But there is a very strong reason to pick one or the other and just do it for that person. And that's because they want different things for sure, right? So home sellers. I think the secondary goal of this is so that you could use this information for all sorts, like marketing across the board. Like if you're building a website and you're trying to figure out what to put on that website, come back to this research document. If you're sending emails and you don't know where to start, go through this research document to pick out an attention-grabbing headline. All sorts of things, like magazine ads, things like that. And, lead magnets are pretty important. So I'll even mention some ways that I could turn some of this stuff into lead magnets. Because I've done this, I did this before I started the video just to see what I could find, and there's some good stuff out there. And then, of course, just to repeat, some of what Stefan has probably said, it's really just to get inside your prospect's head. In copywriting, we're just speaking to one person, we're grabbing their attention, we're meeting them where they are. And so we have to figure out where that is, right? To see what kind of language they're using online and what they're searching for is especially important. So on that note, I am actually going to start by pretending like I am a home seller and I'm searching for something. And I want to explain why that is. I'm not going to go through each one of these questions line by line and try and answer these things. And I'm certainly not going to Google, what are the hopes and dreams of a home seller? Part of doing this correctly is knowing what questions to ask and knowing where to find this information. So Stefan's mentioned that forums, Amazon, Facebook, and things like that work. But you'll find, as you go through this for home sellers and home buyers, that there are certain places where you're just going to live for a while because you find some gold nuggets, and that's where it is. That's where your people are. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to just start all the way at the beginning so you can see exactly what I did with the blank slate. Okay, so what I do is I pretend I am a home seller, right? If I'm a home seller, I am either beginning my journey and I want to search for things like, should I use a real estate agent to sell my house? Fine. However, what I find very helpful is, let's say the home seller has chosen a real estate agent already. That journey could end up very badly or very good for them. Heaven and hell, right? So what would be a hell question? Can't sell my house. A heaven question would be sold over asking. Those are my previous search terms showing up. Cool. So I've entered that into Google. I've already installed my discussion button here. I'm going to activate it for the home sellers as well. Discussion button, of course, being the excellent Chrome extension that Jimmy Parent shared a while back, and you could find it yourself simply by Googling Chrome extension, comma, discussions, and you'll be able to add it and it'll show up right there. And when you press it, what ends up happening is that search term that I tried, it's going to turn that into a search term within the realm of forums. So that's a forum. That's a forum. I can't sell my house, help. Oopsie daisies. That's a forum. Need to sell my house ASAP. Okay, cool. I'm not going to open more than 3 because we're going to try and get through like as many of the questions as possible. And I think that once you see like how you can fill some of these areas out, you can take it further. Like, you know, just because I stopped here doesn't mean you shouldn't go down all the way and open up all the good ones and even like maybe go up to here. I wouldn't go like past that because at that point it's just not like a popular enough conversation. Cool, so let's start with this first one here. So, hi, this is my first post, so please bear with me. We are struggling to sell our house. Bingo. It has been on the market for almost 3 weeks, and EA assured us, expert agent, I'm thinking? I don't know. We'd had 15 views and 10 offers within the first 4 weeks. I appreciate that it's sales pattern, but what we've had is very disappointing. I'm sorry. We've had 6 views, no one requested a second view, and no offers. Feedback has been limited. The EA has sold lots of houses recently, so we believe it's fair price. So to us, the pictures seem good and portray the house well, but I'm interested in any feedback. The good, the bad, the ugly. The media tells us Manchester is the fastest growing property market in the UK. Ah, this is in the UK. Okay, but no problem. So this is a real problem, right? Like I'm looking for this is something that's going to happen to home sellers, whether they're in Manchester or in the States or in Canada. This is a very, very real problem. So let's separate that. Victory. Failure. Okay. Okay. Stays, and then what I like to do is I just add like just a header, just something for me to be able to know what that particular blurb was all about. 6. So I think the important thing here is expectations, right? Like distrust. It has been on the market for almost 3 weeks, and the agent, I'm sure they use something else in the UK instead of listing agent. So that's probably what that stands for. Assured us we'd have 15 views and 10 offers within the first 4 weeks. So it's almost like unmet expectations. I don't know. Okay, so what are the replies? Are they all here? Okay, cool. So you see how this is good advice, right? Like push them for feedback and talk to other agents, perhaps to line up different agents to sell within your contract within the current agent ends. So feedback is important, right? The listing says double drive, but there's no picture of it and no clue where it is in relation to the front back garden. I know when we were choosing the house to which we moved this year, parking both of our cars was absolute must-have. So I would say failure would be incorrect listing details. Yep. So all these failures here are hell situations, right? Like things that they didn't, that really are causing them pain, and they shouldn't if they had a good agent, right? Okay, so let's see what this other one says. Mr. Money Mustache. So I've listed back in Iowa several weeks ago, beautiful house, nice location, all that, listed for 163, no showings. Listed for 158, no showings. WTF. So the problem there is no showings, right? And you might already be thinking in your head, well, obviously they listed too high, you know? So this could be used as like a reason why you want to use comparative market analysis from a professional realtor to set the correct listing price. Because even if you drop the price later, there's no guarantees that you will fix, you will get that goodwill back, right? There's nothing like coming out to the market with a strong offer. Yeah, and I'm going to leave this one because I know Mr. Money Mustache is a personal finance forum, and they're probably going to be talking about, let's read it anyways, actually. They're probably going to be talking about the investment itself. Looks pretty great from the listing photos. Yeah, see, so he's talking about like the ROI and stuff of like the property itself. Upgrades. So this guy spent money on upgrades, and didn't see a return. And like I'm being very careful too, because if you're not targeting investors who are selling their house, then like this is secondary stuff, you know. But maybe you are, you know. This is a pain point that somebody has mentioned and has taken the time to express and share online, which means it's, you know, you should, if you're the one that comes out and says, I have a solution for this, you might get this guy, right? Cool. So we're going to continue on. Oh, right. Sorry. So let me go back to this one. One thing that I didn't mention was that for every forum that you enter, always go back to the home page, right? Because like I said, this is our first entry point. We asked the question in Google, we entered into the forum, and now within the forum, this is my second entry point. Actually, there's three then, because if this is second, then the third one is still to Google best forums for home sellers. So this second entry point is actually pretty spectacular, because if I find the actual forum homepage, I can then search for the real estate subcategory. And then once within the real estate subcategory, I can search by replies. And then this stuff is awesome, right? So I opened up this camp thing before, and it's weird. It's just like, it's actually camping. So I'm gonna ignore that. But I did find some good stuff in this. For example, this one. Dropping price. Communicating offer to seller. Nervous. Right? These are emotional discussions. And look how many. 500. Obviously we won't go that far because some of these will probably have like very little replies. But I mean, I just go like as far as possible. Right? Home seller getting confused. Cool. So let's see what we got. Warning, this is a rant, not really a question. I'm having a hard time explaining to myself what the point of a real estate agent is. They have little legal responsibility, will not put anything on paper that will come back to hurt them later, will offer no opinions on anything for fear of lawsuits, do not have legal bearing on any of the documents other than opening the door and providing the forms. Wow. All right, so let's just put this guy right here. We have bought and sold a few properties so far, not investments, just moving around. For instance, we all found the property and sent to the realtor. He just opened the doors. In the last instance, we sold our home. We were in the area that exploded with people, and selling the property wasn't difficult. We took our own photos, sent them to the real estate agent. Even though there were 100 plus photos to choose from all the portions in the home property, the agent chose multiple photos of the room, photos of another. Description underneath. Okay, so right there, is another one, right? I guess that would fall under almost like bad marketing. And let's keep going because this guy's going to go on for a while. The description underneath, full of misspellings and sound like a 7-year-old wrote it. It sucks. But gold for our research. Before we sold the place, we interviewed 5 agents. None of them came up with a price that was even close to what the place sold for. Us that insisted on the asking price despite everyone's professional opinion. Bad comparative analysis, or like no knowledge of market. Our realtor was not even here for the showings and did not even put a for sale sign in the front of the driveway. Basically, his 3% commission was earned by sitting behind a desk and forwarding forms back and forth. Jeez Louise. Like, that's the nightmare situation that gives real estate agents a bad name, right? And it's important to kind of put yourself in a home seller's shoes and understand why they have that opinion. Because there are, unfortunately, agents who don't do this stuff, the stuff that's required. Yeah, I'd say it's still like bad marketing. Yeah, this guy's going on for a while. We were going back and forth with the buyer on what we will fix. Her agent left out a bunch of stuff on the addendum. Our own agent never even opened the addendums. Just forwarded them to us. You would think for $10K each, wow. They would at least make sure stuff is all there in the legal paperwork and is spelled correctly before sending the paperwork to the respective clients. Back 7 times to our agent to go back and buyer and fix things. New document. I mean, that's just sloppy, right? Sloppy. Not negotiating, but it's like transaction. Again, like these things are just, you can put whatever you want there just to remind you, like, oh, that's what this pain point is. Or like make it more specific. Mistakes on, what does he call it? Paperwork. Yeah. And that's frustrating stuff, right? Like if you have to do this yourself, I mean, you lose trust immediately. And we're talking about a big transaction, you know. So how many replies do we have here? 11. So I would go through each one of these, every single one, and take my time with this. And this is what I mean. So like I don't take an hour or 2 hours even. I would probably take a week. And just like, even in this forum here, going through these threads, I would take as long as necessary to fill this out correctly. And just basically put everything in here, because you're going to find inspiration in this every single time you come back to it. The good thing is, you do this once, right? And you don't have to do it again. You know, this is gold right here. And you want to capture it, but you know, once you have it, it's going to serve you over and over again, you know. So I think for now we can proceed, not because this isn't the place where I want to stay for a lot longer and pull out victories and defeats, but because I want to keep moving along. And I believe I have this one saved, right? I'm just going to add this link then. What's this reference? Yeah, I'll put it in here. And I will I'll put it in here as well. Cool. So I'm going to close this. Dropping price, question mark. We are selling a home we built in 92. Did all the issues found in the home inspection before we put it on the market, painted the interior, new hardwoods throughout. So that, again, see, so now we're starting to repeat, which is great. And I guess that's another way of sort of knowing when to stop. Because sure, I could have spent 3 hours in that other thread and then exhausted like all these different things that people are saying as recommendations. But then I come across a new thread and I'm like, oh, I got to do it all over again. But then it's like, well, I've already covered the fact that it sucks when you fix up a place and you still can't sell it. So that's what she's done here. She did all the stuff too, full bath cape, family room, right? And it's cool, you know, like you don't just say like you spent all this money on renovations, like just spell it out. Be very specific about, like, you know, we took our time, painted the interior antique white, new hardwood floors, 30-year architectural roof, guaranteed this, guaranteed that. It's a 4-bedroom, 2 full bath cape, went all out on the deck. It's basically the perfect property to sell. So why won't it sell? Good question. We listed it for 27 days for $325. We had 4 showings in the first weekend, then not a peep. So we dropped it down to this, nothing, and that's just scary. That's like the worst feeling in the world. Like, we've not sold a home in 29 years, so this is like starting all over again. I know it's a slow time of the year, I get that, but how far down realistically do we go as to not show we are desperate to leave here? Great question. Great question. That is the thing that is keeping somebody up at night, right? Do I drop the price again or risk leaving it on the market at the current price and not sell? Like, that stuff is the kind of, because you know why? Because it's something that is dependent on an action that you need to take. It's not dependent on something external. Like, I'm trapped in my house right now because there's a pandemic going on outside, but I'm okay with that, right? Because I don't want to spread the pandemic, and it's really nothing I can do about it, so you might as well just accept it. But if I know that I can wake up tomorrow and make a decision that will essentially either put money in my pocket and protect my family and put this behind us so we can move on, if I know that that's in my power, that's what keeps me up at night. So this is solid stuff from Camping Mom. Let's put her down in here. How far down? Yeah. Okay. So the answers here are: is your market slow? Perhaps a realtor listed too high. Did I have that one already? No. So I'm just kind of putting this down here so that, you know, these are the things that they're considering, right? Like, you could drop it to 250, but if comps are showing 225, you could still won't sell for 250. You won't know if you're priced right at 319 as you have no further information. No further information. So it's that, like, listed too high, no information. Right? So it's very easy to see how you can come in and say, hey, we have the information necessary that you need to make smart decisions on price. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going. I am so nervous. Our prospective buyers are coming by today sometime. The parents are buying the house for the daughter and son-in-law, and in the contract it's contingent on the daughter liking the house. Guess they must be from out of town. I don't think this is an issue. We countered them at $9,000, more than they offered. So if you had an agent, for example, that clause may not be there. Right? Because you know what that is. That's a bullshit clause to, like, essentially allow home buyers, like, to get out of a contract without having to pay the deposit. I used to do that for investors. Bad exit clause slipped in contract. Yeah, it's not a good, like, if you had good representation, they, you know, you wouldn't have, you would have fought back at least. I want to get my hopes up. We have a contract, but that is the only contingency, and I want to have good feelings about it. I just want to know. House is clean. See, it keeps her up at night. That's, house is clean. Like, she's, you know, everything's perfect. It's like, but there's that thing in there. Everything else is great. Now I'm nervous just thinking about it, but don't be nervous. I think the mother is buying for her daughter. She'd know for well enough to pick something perfect, and I'm sure she's described your house 17 weeks from Sunday. Thanks, Elaine. No, I wouldn't think the parents would have made me the offer. They didn't think it would work. cool. So I think people are just going to calm her down, and, you know, the main issue is, of course, that the clause was put there in the first place. Instead of showing it to other people, you know, who knows? But you could twist it around and present it in different ways as like something that could go wrong if you don't use an agent. So this guy is a home seller getting confused. 15 plus photos. I put out a for sale sign. Oh, so this guy's like a for sale by owner. It was asking $195. I knew that it was too high. Well, a couple who has friends around the corner wanted to look. We spent a good bit of time inside and outside. They had questions before they left. They wanted to look inside one more time. They left. I called them with HOA, and they said they thought they need a little more time. They need a little more square feet. Wow, this is a big post. Let's see if we can... How should this sale be approached going forward? So, like, this guy needs an agent, right? I'm listening to my agent as a selling agent, and also knowing all the things we talked about when I was viewing homes. Like, he needs representation. So he's trying to sell it by himself, but I have not found a house yet, but still she's trying to explain the role of these buyer agents that are showing my house. So he's trying to sell and buy at the same time. So it's like conflict of interest. She be my selling. It's not a conflict. Not a conflict, I'm just being told. Oh my goodness. Right, so essentially there's just like a million things going on in his head because he's not being represented. So I'm not going to copy that right now, but I am going to enter in this section here, for sale by owner. Okay. I'm going to go like confusion. A lot of confusion there. So what do we got here? This is city.com. So we've been through this one already as well. And we went through this one. No, I am not a bot. Oh, this was the guy's house, which he ended up selling for $137. Very nice. Which I think was way below his price. Okay. Yep, and we saw this one. And I believe this one was yeah, so we've essentially like finished our hell situation with definitely a lot of room for deeper dives. You know, you can pull out a lot more things here. So let's see if we can find some more gold for victory. Have offered over the asking price, and then okay, so let's try love my listing agent. So it's going to be tough, I think, to so even in love my agent, it always turns to negative. And there's a reason why for that, right? If you think about the event of selling your house, you sell it and you get the price that you want. You're going to go home and celebrate. You know, it's a one-time thing. It's monumental. It's huge. You're not going to go on the internet and say, "Hey guys, I sold my house for this, this, and that." Unlike, for example, if you're trying to lose weight, you know, losing weight happens gradually. First you lose 5 pounds, then 10 pounds, 15, 20 pounds. And if you're within a community, you're gonna share your wins as they go along, right? Because small wins lead to big wins. And so you'll see a lot more victories in other spaces. In real estate, not so much, because it kind of feels like you're just bragging at that point, right? Like, hey, I just like made like $100,000. Like, look at all this ridiculous equity. So what I like to do instead is very easy. You can literally just start going down and, you know, unmet expectations, 3 weeks. So for what my agent predicted, no feedback from buyers would be like proper feedback from every buyer, incorrect listing details, accurate listing details, and showings, tons of showings. So and you would spell that out, right? Like by essentially getting into the details of what showings can do for you. Upgrades would be essentially like spent money on the essential upgrades and not a cent more. Realtor value would be like realtor paid for himself or herself. Excellent marketing, excellent CMAs provided. And so you can see how these are giving you These are giving you a great start with respect to what you could use, what you need to know before you hire a listing agent. ... Or like emails, how listing mistakes can cost you thousands of dollars. Like stuff like that, right? Like you're already basically drawing a lot of inspiration from this. And then I would literally just go into some of these and pull out stories of specific examples of how of what that nightmare situation looks like, and then you would then finish it after giving the nightmare situation with like the solution, like how you would turn that around or prevent that for somebody. But of course, like this is the R of the RMBC, so there's like there's a reason why there's an M and a B and a C. So these are just like things that you could just keep in mind. Okay, so that's something that's a topic, right? But as you proceed with the process of the RMBC, you'll figure out how to do that like very powerfully. So let's continue. I think this is good enough, right, for you to understand like how the victories and failures can be filled out. I think what's important is to proceed and see how we're going to tackle other existing solutions. So before we do that, I'm just going to take a quick break. Okay, cool. So we're back. Let's see. So we are in other existing solutions. So we discovered that FSBO is one of them, for sale by owner. Let's say another one is the low commission brokerage, those like 1% guys, and other agents. Okay, cool. So how do we Google these guys? You could second. What is this? I haven't looked at this one. Home on market for 5.5 months. Realtor not being aggressive. Seeking advice. Oh, that's a good one. We dropped our price after about a month. Showings increased after that. So we've had no offers. It's 4 buyers to this one. Yeah, so I'm just going to lump that under essentially not being proactive, right? Cool. Yeah, sorry, I just had to, I mean, that I know that's going to be gold, because these guys are basically going to say, like, meet with your agent and look at the competition over the past few months. Like, yeah, see, like, no comparative analysis. Have any gone pending or sold? Is she updating her CMA on a regular basis? No, she hasn't updated CMA at all. Like, they're just going to riff on, like, all the things that this person's doing wrong, which is going to give you incredible insight into all the things that you should be doing right. That you should be doing right. One thing about realtors are that some will be eager to take on one listing but then sit back and let another agent do all the work. I mean, there you go. This is good stuff. Just from a different perspective, I have a buyer that I've seen too many houses. Okay, I got to stop, right? You have the link that I'm going to copy the document, and you should definitely read all of them. But let's see what it looks like with respect to FSBO. And what I'm going to do is try something a little different. You could very well use the same approach, the heaven hell approach, and go like, you know, for sale by owner. Let's see, what would I search? Need help, something like that. Right. So that one. Ooh, interesting. Okay. We'll look at those in a second. This is where I would actually consider using Amazon as well. And the reason why is I didn't use it before, because essentially when you have like health products, for example, if you're selling like a supplement, you can find like similar supplements and find a bunch of them. And it's a product that exists on Amazon, but you can't find like a real estate agent on Amazon, right? Like, how do you do that? However, with this option, which is for sale by owner, if I'm selling my own property, I would definitely need to know how to do that if I'm doing it on my own. So in this case, I can start searching for sale by owner books. So let's start there. Start with the 5 stars, and like Stefan said, it's like 5 stars and 1 stars, right? To shortcut it so you don't have to read everything. However, there's only 75 ratings here, so it may be worth reading some of the 3 and 4 stars. If you're looking at like 4,000 reviews, then definitely shortcut it. But in this case, you might even want to consider the other ones. So if you're going to the market and selling your house without a realtor, this is the book for this task. Even if you decide to go with a broker, checklist is slim and useful guide will help you become an informed and prepared seller. Come informed. Although many things in this list seem obvious, there are many eureka moments that this book would be worth 3 times the price. For example, get an appraisal After your house is spiffed up and you think it's ready for sale, this will give you a realistic assessment of what your house is really worth in today's market. Have you done everything in the preparation list, like cleaning the windows, removing all the personal trap? Have you maintained the home over the years and its infrastructure up to date? Let's face it, you can let go of your ego and run and think, okay, so I would also say like lots to do if you are selling on your own. Lots of great advice taking the FSBO route. With the help of this book, I sold my first home for a price near what a seasoned realtor's market research indicated would be reasonable. But I didn't think I have to fork over 6% commission. With the help of this book. So what did they help with? That's actually important. Actually, this got printed pretty well. Winter commission. Lots of extra work. Must take time to understand home selling process start to finish. So essentially what I'm getting at, just from spending a little bit of time reading these responses, is that the type of person who sells their own home is okay and actually enjoys the process of like learning all this stuff and like going through with the checklist and like, oh, do I do this, do I do that, and is fine with that, with the extra work that is involved. By the way, the section 1 talks about potentially using MLS agent here. Hold on. A very good success with buyself.com. Still have to use MLS. And I am also going to look that up. Flat fee MLS listing. I think this is a low commission brokerage, but let's just put them under here. Yeah. Because essentially, I mean, this is your competition, right? Like someone's gonna read this and it's good to know like an objection to like a counter response to every one of these. Learn why our sellers say buy self makes the selling process simple and easy. So that's a cool process that they give you right there. List, approve, consider, and accept offers. Follow. What's the price, I wonder? Pricing. Okay. Yeah, so it doesn't really tell you. So that's cool. Okay, so let's look at the 1 stars and see what their issue was. Clean it up and make it look nice. I find it very shady that the author waits until the last page that he calls fluff to explain that the book is for a very select few people who live in a single family home in rural areas. Cool. So, what don't they like? Well, for example, for sale by owner, information available only for okay. Yeah, so not another way of saying that is not flexible. Right. Cool. So that's that one. Let's look at this one. This one's got 72 reviews. What a joke. I read this as an awesome, as someone who plans to have SBO my home, I guarantee I would block this guy or anyone using the scripts after the first contact. So using scripts. Advocating that agents harness you 15 times on holidays. Advocating that agents harass you. Wow. That sucks. To show property. Some advice is to many times. I imagine she means per day or something. Advocating that agents harass you 15 to 20 times and on holidays. No, probably like, yeah, per agent. This is to be okay with agents. See you. What else? My biggest issue is with follow-up. The book is definitely gives you a perfect system for following up with for sale by owners and anyone else. So for sale by owner, you need to do all the following up. The quick hitting book was a great read and packed with tons of value as a student currently in. Okay. This book is such a quick read. Start calling people. Need to get on. So this is also that a very small subset of people will be comfortable doing, right? using his system for contacting, following up, and showing value to for sale by owners. Oh, shoot. Okay, so this guy's actually how to be a for sale by owner master real estate agents that really work. In Jason Morris's book, you'll find an FSBO system is not being used by real estate agents all over the country. The system and processing techniques which have been documented and tested and successful in even the toughest markets. Okay, so this guy's actually reaching out to for sale by owners, but he's an agent himself, I imagine. Okay. I think all this stuff still applies though, right? Reliance on corny scripts to sell a house. Maybe not that one. But I can almost... Yeah, maybe not that one. But this one for sure must be available to show property. Okay. Yeah, I should have read that one first. So maybe not that one. Where can we put that one though? I would say this is like what not to do, you know, if you're an agent. I don't know. I don't want to get rid of this stuff though, because it's like pretty good still. Okay, I'm going to put a little comment in here and just say, okay. So let's see what we can find now from the other side. And we'll go into discussions again. That's it. That's the good stuff right there. Okay, so this is an article. I'm just going to check really quickly to see if there are any replies to this, because sometimes it's really good to like check the comment section here. So, the truth about realtor fees. So they'll do it because they want to save money. Unfortunately, a lot of times this effort can be misguided. Excellent. Interesting. See, so that's a really good reason to go with the realtor. Knowing when to list your home is crucial. Cool. And so one thing I want to just mention really quickly is I am not putting this in quotes because it's not something that's in their voice, in your customer's voice, whereas all this other stuff, I would actually recommend that you start putting in quotes just so you remind yourself, like, later on, that this is stuff that that people have said, right? Okay, cool. So this was a good article for sure. I'm gonna add it to my, yeah, so I have a reference here, but I'll just put it right in here. Okay. So that was it. So it actually sent me to another article. Fail number 1: over or undervaluing the home, expecting the home to sell itself, skimping on the details, specifically targeting buyers, buyer agents. This is a lot of awesome fails. Underestimating the complexity, trying to go at it alone. Yeah, this is all really good stuff, right? So I've got here. Sorry, I would actually first copy that. Okay. Cool. That's another one. We are selling our home by owner. We paid $450. They assigned our house to an agent that is completely incompetent. The listing agent eventually got on MLS, but he took the info from the previous. Wow. So for sale by owner.com is not even, is likely like a low commission service that you can use. You just go ahead and like assign an agent to it, and of course they're not going to do a great job. Yeah, so it's flat fee MLS, right? Oh yeah, yeah, I know these. Yeah, I remember these guys. So cool. So yeah, you can. That's actually a really good thread then. 8 pages worth of stuff to basically understand what the problems are with going with FSBO.com. You know, because then you could get really into like, you know, and then when you try and call MLS directly, the MLS won't actually get involved because it's actually between like you and FSBO.com, but they don't tell you that when you sign up with FSBO. That's why you should go with like a full service agent, because FSBOs are like next to impossible to begin with. This is all good stuff. So that was here. Perfect. Okay, so let's step back and look at what we got here. I mean, it's pretty simple to like save money a little. All right, and then I would actually, again, it's going to be the same thing here as it is with the other problem, finding the heaven solutions. People aren't really going to post like their wins like using FSBO, but what you could do is when you're searching for the other stuff, just pay attention to posts like the one we found earlier where they're like, why would you use an agent? And then you go back to that post, and like the opposite of that is essentially what you would list in the section, because You know, if somebody's saying like, well, we took all the photos and we were the ones that pushed our agents to lower the price, we are in control, right? We can take our own photos, update our own listing, make changes to, or like pay closer attention to detail and all that stuff. But it's like stuff that somebody who wants to do that, like these are good things if that's what you're willing to take on. Essentially, like the big argument is that it's all extra work if you do like for sale by owner, and it's really good to like understand what are the things that somebody will value, when they're taken away from them, right? Like all those things that we listed here, which is the victories, and you're going to get like way more the more failures you find. All those things that that you list here are things that are taken away when you don't use a realtor and you go with like these other options. Because if you look at all 4 of these options, essentially like flat fee MLS, other agents, low commission FSBO, every one of those, don't provide you're the product. You are in control of your process and you are in control of all those things that you're listed there. So it's very simple to be able to argue with respect to anything that comes up in these sections. So those are the other solutions. Horror stories about existing solutions. I think we pretty much like found some of those as well. Let's see. I mean, this is technically a horror story, right? Where was it? This one here. It doesn't show the addition of another bedroom. Like all this like incorrect information. What you want to do is like use the same sort of like search entry point and continue down this path and try and find stuff that is like really, really bad, right? And then that would essentially turn into your horror story. Does the market believe existing solutions work? Yeah, they do, right? They think they do. They think that they can save on commissions and do it all themselves, but really don't understand the process of selling a home, all fee, little things go into getting the right price and a quick sale. So curiosity, has someone tried to solve the market's pain points before in a very unique way? What was the result? So I'd say there was one that I found before when I was doing research, and it's like this idea of like a monopoly on real estate. And it was just something like an article I came across. Let's see if I could find it. Monopoly realty or real estate agents. Okay, yeah, but that was the central like idea that they had, sort of like a cartel. Real estate agents are a cartel, which is not true. Like, right, the idea of like MLS even controlling all the properties on the market. Like, people don't like that, and if you don't go with MLS, then you just don't have a fighting chance to sell the property. Would be something else. And that's just stuff that like I found as I was searching generally on Google, and I think you could find those as well. And I think the same goes for corruption. Like these two sections here, they're like not as powerful, I think, as these sections are in the real estate game. Because corruption in this case, for example, like, you know, processed foods, lazy American sugar, and all these huge villains. But again, remember that like the big villain in you're trying to sell your house is really just like the market and buyers, right? Like at the end of the day, it's like the general real estate industry as a whole and like how it's set up to allow you or not allow you to sell your property quickly or easily is the general, you know, to corrupt state. And so within that state, you're kind of already talking about how you're going to be able to solve that by finding a lot of the failures, right? So I don't know if, I mean, like definitely keep focused on this stuff, right? But I think it will come up easily as you read more discussions. So I'll stop here because we've filled quite a bit of this document out, and I hope this was helpful. I think that if we need some more, then I'll come back to it and I'll add another video. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me.